Welcome to today's Lunch and Learn webinar, Go Paperless with DocLink for Dynamics NAV, brought to you by ArcherPoint and Alltech. You know you need to, but taking the first step towards updating outdated business practices can be daunting. Your team needs to creatively and easily expedite processes. They need to be able to quickly scan and properly route documents, create alerts, customize forms, and automate workflows. They need to be able to access files from any device. DocLink, the document management workflow solutions for Dynamics NAV, is the answer. We're pleased to have with us today Patrick Nguyen, Alltech Sales Director. Patrick is a graduate of the California State University Fullerton, Mahalo College of Business and Economics. Patrick brings with him more than 15 years of experience in the software industry, over 8 of which were successfully spent in the document management, content management, and business process automation space. Patrick's extensive knowledge distinguishes him as a valuable asset to Alltech's customers and reselling partners. In today's webinar, Patrick will demonstrate the uses and benefits of the certified for Microsoft Dynamics document management and workflow solution, DocLink. He will arm you with the information you need to be able to identify where your company needs an efficiency boost and how to go paperless with any document, any process, anywhere. So without any further delay, Patrick, the floor is yours.
Great. Thank you, Susan. And appreciate ArcherPoint for inviting us to present to you folks today. Like Susan had mentioned, my name is Patrick Nguyen. I'm the Sales Director here at Alltech. And today we're going to talk about going paperless with DocLink for Dynamics NAV and talking about all the different areas within your organization that may need help with document management or business processes as it relates to workflow. So we'll touch on each and every aspect of within your business where document management and DocLink can fit in your organization. So we live in a world where it's data-driven and document-driven and information-driven. Here's a website called internetlivestats.com, and as you see here, these are live stats are out there on the internet today. When you're wanting to find something, a restaurant to eat tonight, or a destination place, or a movie, or whatever it may be, you go on the internet and search for that information, and you could find it easily, whether it's through Google or some other type of search engine. So how does that translate to your business today and information within your business? Are you easily able to access the documents and information within your business so that you can get answers to for your vendors or for your clients or for internal purposes, right? How easy is it for you to access that information and those documents? And that's the question, right? How do you really have access to documents and information within your business? How do you access critical data, critical documents? Are they easily accessible from your fingertips? And that's where document management and DocLink can provide a meaningful way to store documents and translate those documents, content into meaningful data where you can use it throughout your business and departments. So how does your organization, ask the question or think about how does your company store documents today? Are you currently storing documents in filing cabinets where everything is in paper, in file storage? How do other people access to those documents? What if the document is lost or misplaced or someone checks out a file and doesn't put that file back? Does that get lost or destroyed? What happens there? And what happens if you folks have multiple locations where you need to share documents from one location to another? How is that easily done? A lot of times someone has to go to the filing cabinet, you have to pull out that document or that file, and then you have to scan it and then email that information over to someone that's remote or to another office location. So a lot of people have filing cabinets, still a ton. And then some people move to the next step, as you see here, is they start scanning documents and storing them into network file share, your shared drive on your network server. That's, definitely an improvement from having it in paper, but you're still up to the human error, situation where you leave it up to a human being to scan it, to name it correctly, and to put it into the right folder within that folder structure so that it can be retrievable, right, if someone goes and searches for it. So now, given that's an improvement, but still, how do you easily search and retrieve for documents? And if there's workflow around documents, how do you track that and how do you audit that? And then we get to the next step, which is software, right? Software like DocLink. With software like DocLink, you'll have greater control and visibility and efficiency within your whole organization as to when documents come into the system, who accesses them, who approves the document or reviews the document, if it goes through an approval or workflow process. And workflow can be interchangeable. Workflow could be a approval workflow process, or it could be a process workflow that needs to take that document from one group to another group or one person to another person. So we'll touch more on all that capability as we go more into the presentation. So what is DocLink? And what is document management? Document management means different things to different people, but let's talk about what is DocLink. Well, DocLink, we start with capture, bringing in documents. So you want to be able to capture documents and bringing in documents. So if you have documents that are in paper, we have different ways that you could bring in documents that are paper-based. You could scan it into the system, whether you're scanning it utilizing our OCR technology, which if you folks don't know, OCR stands for optical character recognition, and that allows you to scan in, and then the OCR will automatically pick up certain data elements from that document and assign it automatically as the metadata or property values for that document so that it's easily searchable and retrievable and documents get linked together appropriately. Capturing can also mean picking up a document that is emailed over to you to a particular email address, and we see it very common where people utilize it for like AP invoice, where vendors will send you invoices to a particular email inbox and it automatically can pick it up from that inbox. Capturing can also mean if the document's already in electronic format and you want to upload it in. We allow you to store all different types of document format, whether it's in Word, Excel, PDF, it could be an image file, it could be a multimedia file, or it could be an engineering drawing. We really don't care what format. We could store all documents in native format. Paper-based documents that get scanned in, they're typically stored as TIFF or PDF type of documents. So very industry standard. We don't store in proprietary or anything like that. So once documents are captured and brought into DocLink, the key thing is you want to make sure they're searchable and retrievable. So our searching and retrievable capability is very detailed. We can have multiple companies set up in our system. So if you have multiple companies set up in Dynamics NAV, we can mirror that and have multiple companies inside DocLink. You can have different document types. For instance, you can have a contract document type. You can have an AP invoice document type. You could have a purchase order document type, a check document type, a customer PO document type, or whatever that may be. It could be a sales order. It could be, you name it. It could be on the HR side. It could be an employee application, or it could be some type of other HR documents, benefits documents, and things like that. So there's really no limit in terms of number of documents you could store, companies you can create, document types you can create, and then the property values associated with each document type and how you search and retrieve. We'll touch more on search and retrieving as we go on with the presentation. And then, when documents are brought into the system, you're able to search and retrieve them, but workflow becomes important too for certain documents that need to be routed for review and approval. And we'll touch a lot on the workflow throughout this presentation and how workflow works. You can route things based on a customer. You can route things based on a vendor. You can route documents based on maybe a dollar amount of the document. If it's an AP invoice that requires a certain level of approval based on dollar amount. Or it could be based on the way the invoice was coded. So there's a lot of different ways you can route things around for review or approval, or just a workflow process. Sometimes you might have a work order process that has to go through a certain process for certain people to do certain things at each step. So it's more of like, did you complete your task at that step? And workflow, we notify users via email that they have something to review or approve or to complete as part of their tasks of that workflow. So workflow is very flexible and configurable based on your needs for that document or a process. And then we can also automate the delivery of documents to, for an example, to your customer or to your vendor. We can output documents and automatically send based on certain criteria and certain documents hitting or going into our system. So we could automatically send documents out as well. And last but not least, a very, very powerful tool, and we'll touch it more on it throughout this presentation, is our Smart Form Toolkit. Really huge capability within this module. So depending on what type of business forms you have within your organization or processes, we may be able to recreate those business forms and processes within our Smart Form Toolkit. For example, purchase requisition has a great example of the uses for Smart Form Toolkit. We have a lot of customers using it for purchase requisition process, check request, expense report. You can create expense report, and we actually use it internally for expense report ourselves. So we actually use our own software. A lot of organizations use it for on the HR side, for instance, a new employee onboarding process and form and checklists, for instance. But a lot of uses for our Smart Form. Really, any document or process you may have on Excel, Word today, or a paper form that you want to digitize and keep it all electronic and have a process around it electronic, certainly our Smart Form can be utilized for that. So let's talk about the impact to your team and what DocLink can have within your teams and in your organization. So a lot of times people come to us, I would say at least 70% plus of our clients and prospects come to us with a need to manage accounts payable. It's such a tedious task and time-consuming. A lot of manual data entry, invoices get lost, misplaced, the approval process, audits that happen within your organization for accounting. Getting the accounts payable process electronic is huge, and we hear about it all the time. Certainly, we do great, and we're a great solution for AP automation, but in other areas, we're an enterprise document and content system. So certainly, definitely much more flexibility than just accounts payable. So what we've seen is within accounts payable group and department, what's some of the key things that AP clerks and AP managers are concerned about? Well, the key thing is, minimizing data entry. I don't want to have to do double entry or triple entry when I have a document management system. Providing easy access to timely approvals, making sure that invoices are approved on time. So maybe you could take advantage of early payment discount or not have to worry about, late payments to vendors because invoices aren't approved on time. And of course, the seamless integration with Dynamics NAV is the key thing. So we'll touch on each one of these points as we go further here. So minimizing data entry, what does that really mean? So regardless of how the document comes into your business, you want to be able to safely capture and be able to index the invoices automatically, right? So DocLink can pick up documents whether you're getting it via email. We can automatically pick it up from a particular email address. If it's an attachment, we can pick it up from fax also. You could scan it in. If it's paper, we can read barcodes. And of course, capturing and indexing the document can be done with our OCR module. Being able to pick up the necessary fields such as invoice number, invoice date, due date, dollar amounts, line items, quantity, unit cost, things like that, so that that data can be repurposed as part of the integration with Dynamics NAV. We can also do, any reconciliation and automated matching on PO-based invoices. So we look back into the Dynamics NAV database to look at the purchase order information, to look at the receipt of goods information, to match it with the invoice that you receive. So making sure that based on the tolerance levels that are set up for your organization, based on your requirements, that things are matched up correctly. And if they don't match, well, there's a workflow for exception handling and how that is done, right? And then also, like, our integration with NAV, we leverage the existing data inside NAV to do the matching, to do other information. Maybe if it's a non-PO based invoice, to do the automated geocoding of the invoice into our system for a non-PO based invoice. Capturing data from anywhere. So we have a mobile device, mobile app for iOS, so Apple devices as well as Android devices. We have an app for Android so that you can capture documents, remote as well. So bringing in documents from remote, so you might have people from remote, and this is one of the ways that we utilize it for expense report, capturing receipts and things like that, and statements, and bringing it into DocLink. So a lot of different ways to access DocLink, right? So of course, being on your computer at work or on your laptop, you can access documents in DocLink directly from our smart client. But like I mentioned, we have a mobile app for iOS. So if you have an iPad or an iPhone, or if you have an Android tablet or an Android phone, you certainly can access documents, access your workflow and information as you are remote. A lot of times people utilize it for customer service, people who are service organizations that go on site to customer sites and need to service their clients. Well, they want to look for certain documents as it relates to their client. Certainly can do that with the mobile app. So a lot of different ways, and gives you a lot of flexibility in your organization to access documents if users are allowed to access documents and information that way. Here's an example of one of our clients in the construction industry where they have a lot of remote construction sites and they need to access whether it's plans or contracts or approved information remotely. They have over 2 million documents inside DocLink today, so being able to access documents and information when they're out remote at the construction site was really key for them, and certainly DocLink has provided them a ton of value and time savings that they didn't have in the past, where they required everything in paper. We have different capabilities of approval. So certainly approval can be done directly from the mobile app. You get notified via email that you have something to review and approve. You can log in directly from the mobile app and approve or deny right from your mobile app, whether it's, like I said, the phone or a tablet through our mobile app. But certainly approval right from email. And as you can see here on the left-hand side, it's an example of our email that you can give a user who wants to approve directly from the email. And this email could be onto your device as well, from your email inbox, from your mobile device. So whether you're at your computer or on your mobile device, you will get an email, and attached to the email could be the document. In this instance, it's an AP invoice. You can click on it, open it, and take a look at it. As you can see, as part of the body of the email, there's some information there as it relates to the document. So who the vendor is, what's the invoice number, the invoice date, the amount, the way it was coded from AP. And if you're a manager, you can simply click approve and deny right from the email. We make it super easy and simple for managers to approve or deny invoices directly from email. So really, there is no excuse on getting invoices approved on a timely manner because we make it so easy. We could even put time limits on the workflow steps so that once a manager gets notified via email that they have something to review or approve, that they may have X amount of days. And after, let's say, 2 days, if they haven't approved it, they can get another reminder. Maybe give them another day. And after that, if they don't approve it within that time frame, it can get escalated to a senior manager to approve, maybe their boss and whatnot. So certainly workflow is very flexible. We also have the capability of workflow delegates so that you could delegate workflow to someone else to approve when you're out on leave or you're on vacation. Let's say you're going to be out on vacation in another country for a few weeks, and you're really not going to have access to email and whatnot. Well, you can delegate your workflow tasks within a time frame. So you could say from, let's say, March 9th through March 20th, I'm going to be out of the country and I want to delegate my workflow to John Doe. Well, you could assign that during that period of time, and when you come back, it automatically comes back to you. So any notification after that goes all back to you. But in the meantime, any time in between, it'll go to John Doe to review and approve. So you can automatically set that up. Makes it really nice so that there's always someone that's going to touch the document and not worry about, hey, the document is lost in space, and you know, just because you're out, you know, the business doesn't stop running, right? So certainly you can delegate your workflow to someone else when you're on leave or on vacation. Of course, our seamless integration with Dynamics NAV, our two-way communication back and forth with NAV, so that we stay current with your GL structure, your vendors, information as it relates to PO, receipt, customer information as well. So we also provide not only the AP integration side for both PO and non-PO, for the PO stuff, the matching, but then we also provide you access to documents right from the NAV screen. So whether it's documents related to a vendor or to a transaction, or on the customer side as well. So certainly we can provide access and the documents access very easily with our View Documents button that we put on the NAV screen. Gives you that capability. So any documents related to a customer or vendor are easily accessible for those accounting folks that use it through accounting. Internal business processes that accounts payable has to manage. So think about all the different forms or documents that you may have internally that you can utilize DocLink for. You know, maybe a new vendor setup form that you have. You know, a lot of times organizations have those. It requires some level of approval or review or certain documents that you need to get from your vendor to be able to set up a new vendor. So new vendor setup process. It could be a miscellaneous check request or an expense report, credit card processing. We certainly can, a lot of organizations reconcile their credit card bills through DocLink. And what our system does is automatically separates the charges based on the cardholder and sends it off for approval based on their managers and whatnot and dollar amounts. We can also reconcile telephone bills and utility bills that are tied to multiple locations as well. So different ways to process some of these documents are capable within DocLink. So now thinking about, you know, what does an accounting manager or controller need in a document management system? What's important to these individuals? And some of you may be accounting managers and controllers out there. So what are some of the things? Visibility and reporting. Knowing where things are, right, is important. Improving accuracy within your team. Adding a higher value solution that can bring more purpose and more value to your organization. So we'll touch on all these points and what they all mean. So visibility and reporting. Being able to monitor workflow statuses for documents and tracking pending documents that are stuck in workflow, right? So sometimes data or in a document process workflow are sitting in an idle mode that you have in paper today or a manual process. You know, having the capability to monitor the workflow in DocLink and where each document is at in its process so that it can be approved on time, maybe hit accounting on time and whatnot. So that's very important and definitely capable within DocLink. Managing audit trails and any changes to your team. So we have a full audit trail on documents inside DocLink. So when documents actually come in, who views it, who approves it, date and timestamp, or any changes that are made to documents that are editable, certainly can all be tracked as well. Improve financial reporting by generating monthly reports. So you could you could run reports on, invoices that are past due, invoices that may have been paid, anything that's still in process to be reviewed, and easily manage, your financial reports and what needs to be paid and what still hasn't been paid and has been paid by knowing where invoices are in its approval process. And then, of course, we have a intercompany accounting capability where you could streamline intercompany accounting regardless of if you have multiple locations, multiple departments, or multiple companies in your organization. Improving accuracy. So, improving accuracy is the key thing. So being able to accurately get invoices, not worry about the double entries, not worrying about, when invoices are due. System can manage all that, eliminating any need for double entry into the ERP, where we could feed the data into the ERP like accounting, AP invoices, automatically giving you the capability to filter GL codes based on, a manager who may be doing coding, allowing them to select only certain codes as an example, allowing certain managers based on approval levels automatically configured in the system, improving accuracy on where and who needs to approve things. So higher value add, this is some data from PricewaterhouseCoopers, what they have seen as it relates to costs of touching documents and accessing documents. There's got to be a better way to manage your staff's time and the resources that you have, whether it is, having to file documents, retrieve documents in filing cabinets, or recreate documents. What's the cost of all this within your organization? How does that affect your business and your organization when you need to manage that all manually? Here's a customer evidence where paper storage was a high need. One of our manufacturing clients in the Midwest, storage was really important to them, and the cost of storage and retrieving of documents was costing them roughly $85,000 a year in storage, is what they estimated. Implementing DocLink, we were able to help them save a lot of time, storage, and cost as it relates to time and storage. So the accounts receivable process, what's the need for AR, as you may ask? Well, on the accounts receivable side, being able to quickly invoice and deliver invoices to your client, that becomes a need. Maybe supplying a lot of our organizations and clients require the need to add supplemental documents as they send out the invoice, the AR invoice, to their client for billing. Some of their clients require a signed delivery ticket or some other contract or paperwork that goes along with the invoice before the customer will pay. We will talk about a little bit more on how that works. And then improving customer service when a customer calls in to ask about an order, to ask about their, anything as it relates to some of the things they bought in the past. Maybe. So automated delivery. Well, we can automate the delivery of an invoice based on pre-configured routing rules. So sometimes some of your clients will want it via email. Some clients may want it faxed to them. Hopefully not printed to them, right? Printed in an email or sent to them. We can include backups to those documents. Let's say if your client is okay with sending out, receiving invoices via email, when we can automatically pick up the invoice, the AR invoice, as you print it out. You print it to DocLink instead of printing out the paper. When you print it out to DocLink, it's an electronic print that brings the AR invoice into DocLink. And this can be done with any type of document, whether it's a purchase order that you submit to your vendor or any financial report or anything. You could print the DocLink and store it in DocLink automatically. Once you do that, let's say for an AR invoice, once it hits our system and your clients require a signed delivery ticket, well, if the signed delivery ticket is in our system, we can automatically attach that signed delivery ticket and email it over to your client. So we look back into the Dynamics NAV database under custom names and whatever email address is there, we send it to that email address. So any supporting documents that go along with the invoice. This becomes a very popular need to a lot of our clients being able to do this automatically, because how they've done it in the past is they would have to find those documents and attach it to the email or scan it and attach it, then send it out. So if we're able to automate that, the time savings that our customers have is huge. Like I said, you can customize the method, the preferred method of delivery to your client. Most clients are okay with email and getting those documents over, but some clients don't want fax or printed out. And then you can specify the delivery schedule. So if you want to send it out every day or every week on Thursdays, for instance, you certainly can. Or every day at a certain time, you certainly can do that as well. Here's a customer evidence where delivery savings, just one portion of what DocLink was able to do for them, is a government and education software developer where they were able to save $11,000 annually just in postage costs alone, just in that cost that they were mailing out. They were able to automate this process so that the time savings and cost savings of postage they were achieved with DocLink. So what about a CFO? You know, what's a CFO really interested in as it relates to document management? Well, increasing productivity, right, within your organization. So being able to do more with the same people or do more with less as your organization grows, right? How can I improve productivity within my team or my group or even within the organization as a whole? Manage any compliance issues or tasks or audits that you may have annually. And then thinking about it, not just for accounting, but an enterprise-wide solution where you can use it for all different departments, whether it's in marketing, in HR, in operations, in manufacturing, all the different areas within your organization that are paper-intensive and can utilize a document management system. So here's an example of a customer that was able to utilize DocLink and grow the organization without having to add an additional staff to their team. So here's an example where they were able to save roughly $48,000 just in salary and benefits in the accounting department where they didn't have to add staff. So think about it as being able to do more with the same amount of people as the organization grows. Certainly helps with the ROI calculation and the ROI for your organization. Giving auditors access to documents to review. Most organizations go through an annual audit. They're a lot tougher when you're a public organization, so right? You know, how does that affect your organization? What's the cost associated, the time it takes you to go through your audits today? A lot of organizations have their documents in paper. So they have to go through filing cabinets and pull and furnish these documents to their auditors so that their auditors can review and audit their process and their documents and, you know, their books. So how do we make it easier? Well, all the documents are in DocLink. So what we can do is there's a couple of different ways you could do it. Some of our clients set up a user specifically for auditors and give them specific access to certain documents only so that they could review those documents and who approved it, when they approved it. There's a full audit trail there. A lot of our clients, and this is a great capability, and probably majority of our clients do it this way, where they search for the documents in DocLink that the vendor, that the auditors are asking for. You can actually export everything you search and put it onto, let's say, a flash drive and give it to your auditors. Well, when you give that to your auditors to review, there's a light client of DocLink that's going to be on that flash drive that allows them to just search and retrieve. It's a search and retrieve capability that allows them to search and retrieve for the documents that you have exported to them only. So definitely speeds up the audit process. What we've talked to our clients is a lot of them have saved somewhere around the 30% in the terms of the time and the cost of the audits within the organization by being able to do this. So think about not having to dig through filing cabinets to pull the documents anymore. and the time savings that takes to pull the documents and then putting the documents back when the auditors are done. But then also the time savings that your auditors will go through when they have it all electronic, full audit trail, when documents come in, when it was approved, who approved it, how it was coded, and whatnot. So definitely a huge plus for your audit process and time savings when you have DocLink. As an enterprise-wide solution, think about all the different groups and departments that can benefit from DocLink. Your human resources department, maybe certification documents for employees that need to be stored, onboarding, new employee onboarding process, disciplining action documents, vacation requests, things like that, or benefit information, or other information that's needed within your organization. Certain types of certifications, medical release, things like that, or it could be anything that HR requires for your organization and your business. Contracts, so maybe a legal department requires to manage and store contracts, whether it's internal contracts, external, things like that. So certainly a legal department can utilize. Facilities, whether it's operations or manufacturing, all different types of documents there, service requests. They could be work orders, bills, documents as it ties to a manufacturing process. A custom build for your client requires engineering drawings, specs, things like that. So all these different documents can be tied together and managed all in one central repository within DocLink. Field service organizations, where you have your service organization, maybe HVAC, plumbing, or whatever type of service company, maybe your equipment service or whatever company, where you need to be able to utilize and give your field reps the capability to access documents out in the field, to be able to mobilely capture maybe pictures and images of whatever they're fixing or whatever they're servicing, or providing documents to their client via mobile and accessing documents as it relates to their client or the job site or whatever they're at. So an enterprise solution definitely our system can handle. So thinking about a CIO, so someone, CIO or director of IT or VP of IT, what are these individuals concerned with or interested in? Security. Right? Security becomes a high need. Being able to manage the system via security and making sure that access right is given to the right proper people. Disaster recovery. How do you manage, if there's a disaster within your organization? And then industry standards in terms of the technology behind the software itself. So security, we're going to touch on security. So our security is very detailed and tight for DocLink. So security works as who has, you could set it based on who has access to the different companies that are configured and set up within DocLink. So you can give rights to certain users to have access to certain companies. We go beyond that to departments, who has access to certain department documents. And then we go beyond that to go to document types. So the companies you're able to access, the department documents you're able to access, but then also the document types you're able to access as a user. Right? Which document types are you allowed to see and touch? And then what can you do when you're able to see and touch those documents? Can you only view it? Is it an editable document that you're allowed to edit? Property values. We go security even deeper to the individual property values of the document or metadata. So for instance, maybe I'm able to access an AP invoice for company ABC. Right, as a document type, I'm only able to access AP invoices for company ABC. But it's only for vendor XYZ for under $1,000 as an example, as the property value. So security and what you can access is very tight and configurable based on who is able to do what and access to what and what they're able to do once they access the document. Here's an example in terms of disaster recovery. A property management company was hit by a tornado, and they have DocLink. So they have over 100 offices as part of their business, and they have a backup system of DocLink in multiple locations, so that when one location was hit and destroyed by a tornado, none of their data and documents were lost. And there was no delays for the other offices to be up and running to access documents and whatnot. So imagine if something should happen within your business and documents get lost or destroyed because you have it in paper today. You know, what happens to your organization? How do you bounce back from that disaster and recover your documents that were lost? Definitely DocLink can help you with that. We run on very industry standard, so we're built on the Microsoft stack. Our system runs on Microsoft SQL. We're built on .NET, so very standard as it relates to Microsoft. Our leading industry support, great support. We actually provide 24/7, 365 days support for all our customers. Very nice thing to say. Not all organizations can say that, but we do. We have over 3,000 clients worldwide. Most of our clients are in North America because we are based in the U.S. Corporate headquarters in Laguna Hills, California. We also have our support and our development office out of Tacoma, Washington, and we support worldwide because we have clients in Europe. We have clients in Australia and Asia and South America, so we do have clients worldwide beyond the States here. So why Alltech and why DocLink? Mention, you know, all the different capabilities of our solution, world-class product with seamless and deep integration with Dynamics NAV, our smart form capability to create all different types of documents and forms within our system, the mobile access capability, document capture flexibility in terms of how you can capture and bring in documents, the configurable workflow that we have in our system and audit trails, rapid implementation. We are very flexible with our implementation and be able to, you know, move very fast. If you want to move fast and you get you folks up live, and you know, really work with you on the implementation process. And our outstanding customer support. I think all our customers love our support. Actually, an example of one of the clients I visited recently within the last month mentioned that they called support on a Saturday afternoon and was able to get somebody and resolve their issue right the same day. So certainly we do like to preach on a 24/7, 365-day support, and it actually, you know, we stand by that. And with that concludes the presentation today. I want to turn things over to Suzanne and see if there's any questions that came in through the queue. We have about 15 minutes or so. Definitely like to field some questions if anything has come through.
All right, Patrick, thanks for all that great information on Alltech and what they have to offer a multitude of types of companies. One of the first questions we had that came in states that in their organization they ask approvers to complete the GL account codes, but the accounting people like to select the accounting company and vendor information. And they want to know if the coding can be shared by both the accounting people and the approvers.
Yes, they can be. Yeah, it doesn't have to be just one person. It could be shared amongst multiple people who need to code. And sometimes it could be multiple, an invoice could be tied to multiple departments even, right? So it requires multiple department heads or department managers to approve and code accordingly. That's certainly.
Great. Next question states, if I understand right, I can send my AR invoice statements to my customers automatically. Can I also send invoice backup in the same email? They'd like to send assigned delivery receipts with the invoice as proof of service. So does it link or attach backup documents?
Yes, it does. Yeah, we certainly can link, and that's our automated distribution capability where you can automatically send out an invoice, a customer invoice with supplemental or backup documents that are in our system automatically.
Great. Next question is DocLink installed on its own server, or can it be installed on a server that is running other applications?
Yes, it could be on its own server or running on a server with other application. It really depends on the power of that server and what other applications you're running there. But yeah, we have customers doing both. There's no way that's better one way or the other. It really comes down to the power and the speed of your server.
And last question I have thus far is, do the users of DocLink need to be a user of our ERP system?
No, so it's completely independent from the users of Dynamics NAV. So you have users of DocLink and NAV, and they're independent. So for the accounting folks, of course, they're going to be utilizing both probably more commonly, but for users that don't have access to NAV, they certainly just need to be a user of DocLink outside, because our system is outside of NAV.
All right, and that's a great segue, because our next question is about NAV integration. They want to know, can we create a document in NAV based on the document, another document from DocLink?
I'm trying to think. So if there's an example document in NAV, so you're talking about like a purchase order, maybe if there's a purchase requisition process inside. I'm thinking at like a purchase order process.
A purchase order.
Yeah, so like a purchase requisition process, you can utilize our smart form toolkit to create a purchase requisition process and then have it approved. And once it's approved, the requisition, we can feed that requisition into Dynamics NAV and create the PO automatically, so it doesn't have to be re-entered again. But yes.
Does that answer your question, Andrew? You don't mind just chatting, or yes, great, thank you. And then our next question, looking for some clarification. The question is, DocLink can be interfaced with NAV as a module, or can it be accessed like using Windows Explorer?
No, it sits outside. So really we have a web interface for our smart client or mobile app, but it sits outside of NAV. It integrates with NAV with specific information like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hopefully that answers your question as well, Osvaldo. Thank you. Great. Next question, how do you check documents automatically added to confirm that the OCR is correct, right? You check documents automatically added to check the OCR is correct.
Yeah, so what you do is with the OCR module, there's a tolerance level that you can configure with the OCR. So if everything reads and gets picked up correctly, you could set it up as a tolerance level. If everything, it goes by a traffic light type of system. So everything it picks up in green would be good to go. Anything that has yellow it's questioning, maybe I'm not sure if I picked it up correctly, so it's going to ask someone to verify the data. If it's red, it means it did not pick up the information at all, and it's going to ask someone to verify. But if it's green, if everything it's supposed to pick up for that document is green, it automatically flows through into DocLink, into the repository.
Okay, great. Okay. Does DocLink integrate with other ERP systems?
Yes, we do. We have 14 different ERP integrations.
Okay. And I'm sorry, we're just typing these questions, answers up. A follow-up on the OCR question, she said then it would automatically be entered into NAV if it's green, like an invoice, right? If the OCR.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and if the invoice is a PO base, it's going to do the matching. If it doesn't fall within the tolerance level that is configured based on your requirements, then it goes through an exception workflow. If it's a non-PO based invoice, then it needs to be coded and then approved, right? Typically, non-PO will require some type of approval. If there's no approval, then it could feed directly into NAV if there's no approval.
Next question, is there a trial version of DocLink?
No, we don't have a trial version. We've been around for 32 years this year. We have plenty of clients utilizing DocLink. We don't have a trial version, although we can, schedule a one-on-one demonstration with you folks and utilize some of the documents that you may have and need to see in a process. Certainly, we can schedule that. And here's the information on how to reach out to us, either reach out to ArcherPoint or Alltech directly. Here's our email address if you have and are interested in scheduling a one-on-one session to go through a live demo of the solution.
Okay, we have another question that's come in. What if it is PO-based invoice that has not been physically received? What if it is a PO-based invoice that has not been physically received? So are you asking?
That means,
yeah, go ahead.
What I'm thinking that you're saying there is it's a PO-based invoice, but the shipment, so you receive the invoice before the shipment comes in, so you don't have that receipt of goods. So yeah, so when you scan in that invoice, it's going to sit in a queue to be matched because it cannot match back because the receiving transaction hasn't been completed or the goods haven't been received. It's going to go into an exception workflow, basically.
Great. See if we have any other questions coming through. Let's see here. Sure, I got all of these answered. Thank you all for the great questions.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that probably covers us. So, yeah, I guess with that, we'll wrap it up again. info@archerpoint.com or doclinksales@alltech-inc.com. And I just want to thank everybody for their time today. We do appreciate you spending part of your day with us, and we hope you consider it time well spent. To help us to continue to offer value, we ask that you take just a few minutes more to give us your feedback and also share with us what other topics you would like covered in future webinars. Just send your comments to info@archerpoint.com. Again, thank you everyone for your time, and this concludes today's session. Have a great rest of your day.